Hello everybody, Average Gamer. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Mechwarrior Online. In this episode, a marketplace. So, what I mean by marketplace is where players can purchase or rent, mechs, weapons, systems, or actually just mechs and weapons from the game or other players. So, for example, the game will have it set up overall that you can rent, quote unquote, any mech from the store for a set price. So, for example, if I go in, if I'm just looking at my lights here, for example, actually, let's go to all. So, there'll be a set price, right? So, for any assault, it'll cost you for that match, or it'll be a minimum of, say, you rent it for, the more maps or let's say drops you or matches you drop in with it, the least it'll cost. So say for example, for the minimum of say 10 games rented, so basically one night's worth of gaming, it'll cost you 60% of your winnings and 60% of your XP earned on that mech, meaning that you're only going to get 40% C-bills and 40% of the XP, or you're only going to get the GXP. And that's it from that mech. But you get to learn how to play it and use it. You can't really do much. It basically shows up in your thing here for 10 matches. You can spread those matches out over as many days as you want. But theoretically, 10 matches. That includes private matches. So theoretically, right? 10 matches, you purchase, you rent a mech. So, for example, my Archer here. My Tempest. Now, heroes will be a little bit more. Say for 10 matches, it's 70% of your C-bills, only because you get that, that little extra bit of C-bill boost, right? Or you only get the C-bill boost amount, or other way, it costs you more per match. Now, Catch-22 is obviously it's a hero mech, right? But the mechs will show up in your bag, in your stables, and it will be yours until that's over. It'll actually say like here it says times 2, for example. Stop showing up. Perfect. So here it says times 2. Here it'll say like a number. It'll say 10. You play one match, that goes to 9, 8, 7, 6, etc., etc., down to 0. Then the mech's gone from your inventory. So that way they can I hit a wrong button. That way they can kind of get rid of the whole trial mech thing. You really don't have to worry about trial mechs, because in the end, every mech can be run on trial no matter what. I want to try this Locust, actually. But that way you can try any mech, however you want, whenever you want, and it costs you basically a percentage of the wins, or a percentage of your winnings, basically. That's the first thing. Second thing is renting, it's a purchasing of equipment from other players. So, for example, I go to my inventory here, and I've got, in my weapon systems, tons of weapon systems that I'm not using. Tons of equipment I'm not using. Modules I'm not using. And, well, no Omnipods right now. Everything's equipped. But, like equipment, I think I have a couple engines here. Probably I have an XL300 engine, a standard 280 engine. Whole bunch of standard heat sinks. Whole bunch of everything. Jump jets, you name it. In my weapon systems, lots of weapons. Now, theoretically, what I should be able to do is for a mark amount of this. So say this is the beginning amount. So this is the least amount I'm going to get if I sell one Ultra AC5. So I'll throw an Ultra AC5 out there. Now, this is if I sell it directly to Mechwarrior. Now, I can post it for initially 200,000. People can then bid on it, meaning that they'll bid obviously 200,000 and all above or below. So basically, it creates like a internal mechanics of how much the weapons are actually worth. Whatever weapons are basically the meta at the time, they'll be the main weapon, right? So you get people that, like myself, could rent out a bunch of my weapons. So people that are always running the meta, you're always going to be buying different weapons, buying weapons, selling the old ones. Well, what if instead, because the meta is always changing, instead of having to buy a bunch of weapons, sell them all when those are done, buy a whole bunch more, or just keep buying a bunch until you have stupid amounts of everything, you could rent out. So right now, for example, what if I can rent out all 4 of my clan SRM4s for 30 days? You even put like a thing here, right? I can right click, say I would do sell or rent. For sell, you put it here, say, okay, well, how many do I want to sell? I want to sell 4, right? So I want to sell 4. This is how much I'm going to get if I sell it directly back to Piranha. If I don't sell it back to Piranha, there'll be another option. So it'll say gained. And then below that, it'll say, I don't know, something the auction house. So you throw it out of the auction house, and it will show you the average weapon price of what it's going for. Piranha Games obviously would set the precedence as to how much weapons are truly worth at that point. You'll be able to get a more accurate standing of what they're worth. Weapons have, at that point, you can add in a certain efficiency with them. The older the weapon is, the more efficient maybe it is, the better it is. Maybe have modified weapon systems. So over a certain amount of time, weapon systems themselves gain experience, and you can actually level up, give them better lenses on the lasers. Maybe give them, that gives them a higher strength. That'll be a whole different video that I'll be getting into. But you can sit back and sell things at different prices. It'll cause certain prices obviously to go up, certain prices to go down. Like I can't see someone spending $5,000 on a machine gun. So I can see that dropping down drastically. But so that, you have multiple options to rent or sell. The main reason why I'm saying rent or sell is mainly because of my mech bay. Right now, I've got 136 mechs. That's on trial. Got 34 assaults, 47 heavies, 41 mediums, and 30 lights. Now, theoretically, what I would like to be able to do is be able to... I have a... Oh, that's why. Owned only. There we go. Now I changed everything. So, 26, 37, 43, and 30. There we go. Okay. So, what I would like to see is the ability to rent out some of my equipment to, say, some of the guys in my unit. Some of them want to be able to, utilize a mech that I have that they don't. They want to try it out, but they don't want to drop, the several $1,000s or hundreds of millions of dollars it'll cost to run multiple different mechs over a couple days and get used to them and try them out. So what I've decided, what I thought would be a good idea would be for them to, allow people to rent mechs out. Like if I'm able to turn one of my awesome 8R here and rent it out to one of the guys in my unit, and the two of you come up to an arrangement. The max you can get is, say, 50% of what they earn with that mech, so XP and money, all the way down to a minimum of 5% per day of C-bills and XP for that specific mech. And you set up the date. How many days? At the end of the whole thing, when you get the mech back, you get the money and all that stuff. That'll create almost like a game within a game where I'm going to have all these mechs and I'm going to rent them out. Join a large unit, and the whole part of me being in the unit is to rent out my robots. Rent out multiple mechs with with all the proper builds that everyone likes. You also have those guys that sit back and build the mechs, right? They build out the mechs themselves. They may not be the greatest pilot, like myself, but I really like to build out my mechs and tweak them and modify them and fiddle a fart with them. I may not be the best person with them, therefore someone that's a lot better than me will be able to utilize the mech I designed a lot better. That person may not be able to, correctly build a mech, for example. Therefore, they'll be like, hey, do you have a long-range sniping enforcer? Be like, I do, actually. I've got multiple ones. For example, I have one here with the Gauss. And 4 medium lasers. I also have another one right here with 3 large lasers and 2 medium lasers and an AMS. What would you be thinking? The person's like, well, I wouldn't mind trying out your enforcers. Be like, okay, because I have some hunchbacks, Kintaros, Shadowhawks, etc., etc., etc. Go through all the different mechs, and in the end, they decide, what? I want to try your enforcer 4R and 4P. No problem. Okay, so let's see here. How about we'll say how long do you want to rent it for? Want to rent it for 5 days? Yeah, no, or for X amount of matches? No problem. 10 matches? Okay, no big deal. For 10 matches, how about you give me 30% of your winnings? So there you go. So for 10 matches, I got 30% of your C-bills and your XP. Or not even XP, just 30% of your C-bills for that specific mech. You're playing it to learn the mech and fiddle and fart with it, and I'm basically getting money for renting it out. I think that's a good little fair thing, right? Then also, they can't tweak the mech, though. If you're renting it from another player, for example, you can't tweak it or modify it. It's as is. Paint job and everything. If there was permanent paint job or paint jobs that I could do that everyone could download and put on the mech themselves, that would be kind of entertaining. They kind of have a budget rent-a-car service where you have a bunch of mechs. They're all painted in in special colors, and they're all painted like, hey, at the back, rented by rented from type thing. Yeah. That'd be something interesting. Then you become the person that people come to rent your mechs, because you have that thing of that guy builds really good mechs. He charges really cheaply as well, so you can play one of his mechs for 10 days. Yeah, he takes 60% of the money you make, but with the mech he makes, you still make an extra $100,000. So he's taking $200,000 because you're making $300,000 a match, but you're walking away with $100,000. You're walking away with $1 million after 10 matches. He's walking away with with a lot more. He's walking away with two times 2 million. He's 2 and 1 million, 2 million. Yeah, so he's walking away with 2 million. But on the bright side, he's building a mech that you can really do good with. You can learn how to play and then go buy it yourself after blank amount of matches. So there you go. It's a quick little idea. So renting mechs and things like that. Purchasing obviously equipment and selling your weapons. I can't see people renting an equipment, but at least selling your equipment on a overall market for everybody. So that'll help drive prices down, because that's the way I'm looking. Like, some of the stuff is just way too expensive, and you don't earn enough. So I wouldn't mind a player marketplace, basically, where you can sell your mechs to other players, rent out your mechs to other players, sell your equipment to other players, and that wouldn't be, in my eyes, too bad. Even rent out mech bays, for example. If you have mech bays available, I've got 3. I'm waiting for the Shadowhawk to become available for purchase for free. Once that's done, I'm buying 3 of them right off the hop. Let's go to the hop. But my plan is obviously to do that. In the meantime, what if I were to rent out? I said literally rent out my 3 mech bays. One of the guys in my unit, Al, he needs mech bays. Be like, hey, dude, no problem. Here's the deal. I can give you 3 mech bays for the next 2 months. Or 3 months. And when you go to buy the mechs, it'll even tell you, hey, just so you know, this mech is going to be going into your temporarily rented mech bay. So you can play those mechs temporarily. 3 additional mechs. Or even, like I said, rent out a mech from somebody else. But yeah, so that's an idea I have, And I just realized I only have 2 mech bays available, actually. So one of the things I'm actually going to be doing soon is actually going through and weeding out some unneeded mechs, because I got mechs of 4 and things like that. So I'm going to be selling 1 mech here, 1 mech there, and all that stuff. I'm keeping at least 3 of every kind. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.